From the St. Louis Public Radio newsroom, this is The Gateway. It's Friday, December 20th. I'm Abby Larico. A new law passed in Missouri this year expands the list of who can own chickens. The bill's sponsor in the House was inspired by his granddaughters.
Some of my friends were like, I love chickens. Maybe someday we could get them. And I'm like, yeah, hopefully it's legal. So we just decided to make it a law.
STLPR's Sarah Kellogg discusses the new law and a current obstacle it faces. Plus, a haunted house in Sullivan is looking to make Christmas a little scary this year.
Our team has a pretty equal love for spooky and Christmas.
We'll take a trip to Santa's slaughterhouse. The story's coming up after this news on The Gateway. Governor Mike Parson's pick for St. Louis County prosecutor says someone working on behalf of County Executive Sam Page asked her to dig up dirt on an incoming member of the county council before the election. St. Louis Public Radio's Rachel Littman has more on the controversy.
Melissa Price Smith made her claim Tuesday night during a St. Louis County Council committee meeting. She says she did not know who the caller was. Smith says the target was Michael Archer, the Republican councilman-elect of the 6th District. Archer had once been an assistant county prosecutor, a role that Smith currently holds.
I told them I had no dirt on Mike Archer and that it was my understanding that he quit years before I began. I received a call 2 days later from the same person on behalf of Dr. Page instructing me to try harder.
A spokesman says Page has no idea what Smith is talking about. I'm Rachel Littman, St. Louis Public Radio.
Former employees of the original Homer G. Phillips Hospital are appealing a decision against their trademark infringement lawsuit. They sued to keep the new North St. Louis Hospital from using the name, but a judge ruled against them in August. Zenobia Thompson is the co-chair of the Change the Name Coalition. She says the Paul McKee-owned hospital's temporary closure this week is another example something needs to change.
We knew 3 years ago that it was only a matter of time before Mr. McKee would drag attorney Homer G. Phillips' legendary legacy of excellence in the gutter.
The new hospital closed this week, citing a blood shortage. Almost all staff were furloughed, and some have not received the wages they're owed. A new fund will help businesses in 3 St. Louis districts to repair vandalism and enhance safety. Thursday, the St. Louis Development Corporation approved up to $350,000 to serve the Dutchtown, Laclede's Landing, and Delmar Main Street organizations. Grants of up to $5,000 per incident can help businesses with fixing windows and doors, removing graffiti, repairing lights and signs, and other safety improvements. The money comes from interest earned from American Rescue Plan Act funding. It's expected to become available sometime in February. St. Louis soul food staple Sweetie Pies will reopen. But as St. Louis Public Radio's Chad Davis reports, details on the return are slim.
Sweetie Pies will return in a new location, this time at the intersection of Dr. Martin Luther King Drive and Kings Highway Boulevard in North St. Louis. A banner with the message "Coming Soon" and the Sweetie Pies logo is hanging on the side of the building. Founder and restaurant owner Robbie Montgomery said via text message that while the sign has been on the building for about 2 weeks, she hasn't picked a date for when the restaurant will reopen. An event space will also open up nearby. City records show her LLC has to pay the real estate taxes for last year and this year. Montgomery says she has until the end of the year to pay the taxes. The last Sweetie Pies location in St. Louis closed in 2022. I'm Chad Davis, St. Louis Public Radio.
A clean energy company has selected Southwest Illinois for its new $820 million fuel facility. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker's office says Avenia Clean Hydrogen Plant will employ at least 150 people and will make sustainable aviation fuel. The facility will be capable of producing 120 million gallons of the fuel every year, and it will save 25 million metric tons of carbon emissions over its lifespan. The governor's office says this facility's new plant aligns with the state's goal to support renewable energy. It's not clear where exactly the plant will be built. According to the Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity, Southwest Illinois includes 9 counties in and around the Metro East. A tax credit agreement between the state and the company lists an East St. Louis address, but state officials haven't confirmed it. A 5-year legal battle between the heirs of Missouri painter Thomas Hart Benton and the Missouri bank that handled his trust has ended. Julie Denachet reports.
Jackson County Circuit Court Judge Mark Stiles Jr. concluded after a 5-month trial that UMB Bank did not breach its duty to the Thomas Hart Benton Trust. The artist's heirs first sued the bank in 2019, seeking $85 million and claiming it lost more than 100 pieces of Benton's art, engaged in self-dealing, and sold pieces for less than their market value. The judge ruled there were only 5 works UMB could not account for and awarded the heirs $35,000. The family's lawyers are considering an appeal. I'm Julie Denachet.
Tucked within a new, wide-reaching Missouri law on property rights is language expanding who can own chickens. St. Louis Public Radio's Sarah Kellogg explains the law, including the sponsor's personal reason for backing it.
It's a December afternoon in South St. Louis County, and Josie Murphy is showing me the family's backyard coop, which is the home of their chickens.
Okay, so we have 4. That one's Comet. That one's Lily. That one's with the big hairs, Louie. Then Maddie's in the coop.
The Murphy family have owned these chickens for about 2 years. Josie's sister, Lily Murphy, says some of her friends own chickens, and that made her want to have her own.
They're just interesting creatures, and they're fluffy, and they have their own personality, and they have plenty of sass.
Lily says they weren't sure they would be allowed to keep their chickens if their homeowners association ever ruled against them. She also wanted other people to have the opportunity to own chickens.
Some of my friends were like, "Oh, I love chickens. Maybe someday we could get them." And I'm like, "Yeah, hopefully it's legal." So we just decided to make it a law.
Unlike most Missourians, Lily and Josie had an in with the Missouri legislature. Their grandpa, Representative Jim Murphy.
People should have the right to do with their property as they see fit, within some limits.
The legislation is modeled after St. Louis County's guidelines on chickens, but is applicable statewide. It allows for 6 chickens on a lot 2/10 of an acre or larger. It also doesn't allow homeowners associations, deed restrictions, or other similar agreements to ban owning chickens. Not everyone is enamored with the new law. There currently is a lawsuit by a homeowners association in the Lake of the Ozarks seeking to rescind the new provisions. The suit is currently ongoing, but Jim Murphy doesn't believe it will be successful. And until then, Jim Murphy says those who want some feathered friends in their yard can absolutely partake. I'm Sarah Kellogg, St. Louis Public Radio.
Our Fred Ehrlich edited that piece. Christmas is about love and joy and kindness, but this weekend in Sullivan, it's also about scaring the stockings off people. The Terror on Route 66 haunted house, right off of Interstate 44, will be open tonight and tomorrow night for a special Christmas-themed event. St. Louis Public Radio's Jonathan Ahl takes us to Santa's Slaughterhouse.
The twisty, narrow halls of Terror on Route 66 are festooned with flickering Christmas lights, broken decorations, and toys that look possessed. So here's the backstory. Santa hired a very talented toy maker who got interested in the dark arts and started making deranged toys. One of his creations went horribly wrong.
It killed all of the toy makers, and he went out into the woods to hide and made a perverse replica of the toy shop that he was working in previously, and he turned it into Santa's Slaughterhouse.
That's Linda Brawley. She and her husband have worked at Terror on Route 66 since it opened 3 years ago, and they bought it last month. They want to do more than just Halloween.
Our team has a pretty equal love for spooky and Christmas. They already have the over-the-top festiveness of them anyway for every holiday.
The haunted house community sees a natural connection between Christmas and scary stuff. Sammy Taylor plays Jingles, a blood-spattered elf who carries a candy cane that looks sort of stabby.
So people ask, how do you do, a Christmas character? And I said, how I got it was being a clown, being silly and cute, funny, but also dark and demented at the same time.
Taylor says she'll know the event went well if she's sore the next morning.
I wake up and my legs are shaking because I was chasing people all night. Just the laughs, the look on people's faces, their reactions.
The owners say Santa's Slaughterhouse, which is about halfway between St. Louis and Rolla, can be a fun thing for families to do over the holidays. Maybe Yuletide fear isn't a huge leap from tradition. After all, Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol, it's a ghost story. In Sullivan, I'm Jonathan Ahl, St. Louis Public Radio.
Our Brian Heffernan edited that piece. The Gateway is a production of St. Louis Public Radio, a listener-supported service of the University of Missouri-St. Louis. Theme music by Ryan McNeely of Adult Fur. But for now, because 'tis the spooky season, some more tidings of discomfort and fear. I'm Abby Larico, and from the St. Louis Public Radio newsroom, this has been The Gateway. Have a great weekend, and I hope your last-minute holiday to-do list isn't too scary.